Happy Christmas.
Mini Matters, a miniature painting podcast.
Hold on, I've got to pause. Well, happy. Oh, it's not New Year yet. Maybe this goes out on New Year, but happy Christmas. And we're back, Lionel. We've actually done like hardly any talking in our normal little catch up before the show thing. We've been saving it.
No, we've not really talked properly since Monty Santovino.
Sick of each other, innit?
Other than WhatsApp, but I've not really been engaging that much on WhatsApp.
It's just one way. It's like me and my wife, basically. Sad, isn't it?
No, because obviously this time of year, when you've got 3 young kids and my wife's part of a large family, we just got so much going on.
Yep, same. I got one of
I can record whenever you want.
Yeah, exactly. Lionel, I'm here, mate. Where are you? Yeah, it's been lovely actually. You know, not being I've missed the show. I've missed Monty. What I have done is like I'm just painting again in like in a nice way. You know, no pressure. I'm not worried about the outcome. Like, I'm enjoying it. I'm a little bit annoyed that my desire is to paint models exactly the same as they are in the magazines, because it's boring.
But at least you've got a desire to paint full stop, which is more than you had last year.
Well, it's
regardless
actually,
of what the style is.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, what I'm doing is I'm doing one model off. I think I've said it, but one model on, one model off. One model of copying someone, so like this prescribed kind of frustrating way of painting, and then one model of just paint the model how I want to paint it, but still like in an older style. But
are you still limiting yourself? And I use the word limiting yourself to elder.
I'm just going where the wind takes me, Lionel. You know,
right? Okay.
I don't put labels on those sort of things. No, what I have done. Hold on. Yeah. So.
I was surprised. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Wow. Go on.
No, I didn't know you recording.
Yeah, no, I'm recording now.
Okay.
Yeah. So I have started this one. So the cast is like, there's some imperfections in the cast, but I still figured I'll still just like, it's not like I'm entering this as a competition piece or anything. So it's not like it's a big deal, as it were. But as in, those small imperfections aren't really going to cost me anything. But yeah, like I'm not limiting myself to elder. I'm just following the wind, as it were. I don't know if that's the saying, but yeah, like this is the piece I think that I've been I saw it at Monty, bought it at Monty. You were there, obviously, and I'm quite excited to paint it actually. But then I sat down to go to paint it, and then I accidentally started looking at the 3rd edition Elder Codex, and I got a little excited to paint some of those models. So I've got that model ready. He's all he is, as you see, ready to paint. But actually, that little green guy in the background is what sort of tickled my fancy again. So I've gone in with the view of like, if I get kind of frustrated at that process because that one's copying from the codex, then I can just jump into this guy and have a nice relaxed painting session with this. And like volumes is the thing that I want to. Well, I suppose we're getting into next week's episode, so rein it all in. Let's focus on the task at hand. But no, I'm not limiting myself, basically.
Yeah, I'm going to say that was one of my most exciting moments at Monte Santovino, actually. Yeah. I genuinely mean it. I genuinely mean it. When you picked up that model, because one, you're starting to move more towards painting now, which is what you need to do. But also, I've said it to you ad nauseum. I'm so bored of Eldar, and I'm so bored of you talking about Eldar. So I automatically switched off. So when you picked up that piece.
Yeah.
One, the fact that it wasn't GW and it wasn't Eldar based, but two, I wouldn't have put you picking up that piece. So I was really excited when you actually bought that piece and you said, I am going to paint it. So I'm really excited to see the process with this. I'm really excited to see you finish the piece. Yeah, and I'm really interested.
Yeah. I mean, I just thought, is that scarf, is that a casting error? But I think it's, I don't know. But yeah, I'm excited to paint it, and I can relate to that. Like when my wife talks about something that's boring, you know, and then she talks about something that's interesting. It's much more. It's nicer to be, you know, surrounded by your peers that have similar interests, especially as we're on a miniature podcast together. So me doing Elder, I think, yeah, I don't know. I mean, it is a corner of corner, like a turning point, obviously, to even because when I look back through the things I've been painting, I've not painted since 2019. Not really, you know, not with any passion whatsoever. So, like, I suppose to even think about painting this without, and it wasn't that I felt sick or annoyed about painting or anything. I think I was just like, there was just too much pressure externally and internally, and then it just snapped, and I was like, I'm out, kind of thing. You know, from all the lessons I did and all that kind of stuff, and I think that's part of just who I am in general. So now I think what I'm trying to train myself to do is be more like in the middle, rather than like trying to learn as much as humanly possible as fast as possible, down to like I don't want to do anything. I want to be like here where I'm like, I enjoy painting. I thought we got 3 calls. I don't know if you saw that. Anyway, yeah. So that's what I think Monty particular gave me. It really, because we had SMC, like, so I guess, how do we want to structure it? We've got images, haven't we? But they're just really recapping on.
Yeah, I suppose let's look back at our year so far, because obviously this is our year. That was your year.
That was my year.
So do you want to talk about painting, or do you want to talk about events?
Could do both. I mean, they're actually kind of interlinked for me.
Yeah. What do you want to leave with? Well, let's go chronological then, and let's go back to World Model Expo.
Okay, hold on then. So, World Model Expo.
So this was our first event, wasn't it, of the year? First time you attending that venue. First time you going to World Model Expo, but it was effectively SMC reskinned. What were your thoughts about it?
And what date was this?
It was summertime, wasn't it? Wasn't it August?
August. Yeah. Okay. So it's still quite condensed, isn't it? All the events.
Yeah.
This year, when you think about it, I mean, it was brilliant, but not in a painting capacity for me. I think obviously filming and doing Dragonhead meant that, like, I basically had 0 time for the models. But I also think it's possible that that's because of where I was in the miniatures anyway. Do you know what I mean? Like, had I gone, let's just say this was the end event and I'm in where I am now and we went to World Model Expo, I'm pretty sure I would have spent more time looking at the models in a different way. Just because of where on that, like, line I was on like motivation. But it was a brilliant event. Spend time together, obviously. It's always nice. And just, seeing everyone again. Like, it's been a while since I think I'd seen now Albert, you guys. I don't know why, but it was the start of the events, wasn't it? As an event, I think it was an eye opener as well in general, just to see that much stuff, that many models. And you, I think.
For me, this was the real significant landmark for me that showed me that the pandemic was over. This was like, it had been for a while, but people weren't doing what they used to do. It still felt like we were in the shadow of that. This was the first time, with how packed it was, how well attended it was, this felt like time before. So for me, it was significant in that sense. Um, I enjoyed the event, much like SMC the year before. It felt like SMC the year before, although it was called World Model Expo. It was a reskin. I The reason I really enjoyed that event is because I was kind of vicariously living through you because I'd seen SMC. I kind of had an idea of what to expect, and it pretty much was scale model challenge again, just with a retag.
Yeah.
So I was very keen to see what your first impressions were and kind of relive that magic through you to see how you took it in. And obviously with you entering the painting competition as well, first time you've entered an open one, I was hoping that that would trigger because it's been the elephant in the room for a while. Although you've enjoyed the event, you've enjoyed socializing, and you enjoy the scene, you've not enjoyed painting for a long time.
Yeah.
So for me, I really wanted this to set the fire in your belly in order to get painting again. So for me, it was more my enjoyment was seeing how you reacted to it and what it awakened within yourself.
Yeah, it's like a child at Christmas.
Yeah.
The analogy holds up, I think, except that we're not blood relatives. So I think what it showed me was that the hobby is smaller than I thought and also bigger than I thought in a capacity. Like, I got to meet all these guys that I've been talking to, like doing commissions with and stuff, and so that capacity, it made you realize it's smaller because everybody's there, like in this one event, and there's only SMC or whatever we want to call it is so much bigger than Monty in terms of turnover because so many people just come for the event. They're not in the like community wide. They're coming as an event, right? And they're buying models and then they're going home, kind of thing. And then you've got maybe, I don't know, let's say 1,000 people who are like the community, as it were.
Yeah.
So from that capacity, it was just really nice, I think, to sort of see the community as a real like living organism, if that makes sense. Like, it exists. It's not just something that's online because I'd never seen it in the event, and people go drinking and they go and eat and.
Oh, you still got it on.
Yeah. So it's only August. It's like what, 3 months.
That's gonna be a health and hygiene issue now, surely.
I've gotten so used to it now. I forgot it's on. Like, the only time now is now.
It's when they try to tie one on next year that you realise actually this.
Then I'll take this one off. Rite of passage, right? So yeah, I think it was a really important event from my mental. It didn't get me painting again. I think I did paint a little bit afterwards, but it didn't really kick the. I was going to try and scroll to August to see if I started any models at that point. Yeah, it didn't, but it was certainly like.
I want to explore more. So obviously we're going to touch upon it a bit more later on, but we might as well mention it here while we're talking about it. Is obviously you placed for a gold in fantasy standard painting. Now the idea was, I remember you had that conversation beforehand where you said, I don't want to get a silver. I either want to get a bronze, which basically means, God, I've got a lot of work to do, or I want to get a gold, which means, oh my God, I'm going to be a master's next year. I've got a lot of work to do. Those two outcomes were going to be the things that got you painting and got you focused. You said for you, the worst outcome for your personal growth would have been a silver because you would have been, that's all right, middle of the road, that'll do. I don't need to pick up a brush again. What didn't happen? Because obviously that's the catalyst I was expecting. As you said, after you won that gold, you still didn't paint. Why did you not react the way you thought you were going to react?
I think it had its effect over a longer period, but I think for me what it was I think that's not good English. I think it was it was less tied to competition. Like at the moment, my painting isn't inspired by competition painting. For the first 3 years of getting back in, so whenever I got back into the hobby, 2016 up to 2019, I only ever painted for competitions, if that makes sense. So I wasn't. There was no drive unless I was thinking I'm going to enter this to something to win. So I think I'm still not there, which means that the statement of SMC of bronze, silver, gold I think is still true, just in a more drawn out, slow, less like epiphanal. I don't know if that's a word. Like it's not such a big changing moment. Like I think because I'm not painting for competitions, but that same thing is still there. And then now I know I'm in master, I've got this like base level fear that really excites me. Like now I'm competing against people that are better than me. Like, and that's not to say that I ever thought the standard wasn't better than me, if that makes sense. Like I never felt like that was beneath me because I'd never achieved anything in it. But now I've got like, but I was quietly confident that if I place a piece in there, I could probably get something, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And now I know that I like even placing in Masters is a big achievement. I don't think I can place in Masters yet. And I really enjoy that pressure as a subconscious way to excite me to get to painting. So I think what's happened is World Model Expo happened. I got gold, but I still hadn't bought into it yet, like just painting hobby-wise. And then, obviously, we had the other contests that I didn't enter in. And it's ironic that, well, it's not ironic, it's just funny that the things that I didn't enter in had more effect on me to want me to paint. But that's actually probably just because it was a longer period away from, and I knew it was there, like, and I knew, I'm quite conscious now to not put pressure on myself to paint. And now, like in the past, like let's say a year ago, I finished work, the kids asleep, and during the day I was thinking, oh, I could do some painting now. And then I'll just sit there on like Facebook or chatting on Messenger, and then it'll get to WhatsApp's quick and easy. Yeah. Like it'll get to like 11:30 or something, and then you'll be like, oh, the evening's gone, but I've done nothing. But the thought of sitting down and painting, like, I don't know if it was like fear or just I couldn't be bothered, but I think it kind of like, I don't think you get it because you kind of just work through things. But for me, like, not real world example, but this guy, let's say I start painting him, I get like 40% through, and then I just can't resolve one thing on him. Like, let's say his face isn't how I want it to be. Instead of working through it, I'll just switch off from him because I find it too frustrating that I'll just stop. And then I won't paint for like a month because he's still the thing, but I won't pick up something else. So I think what I'm trying to do is work through that stuff. So I can't remember why I've gone into that link of that at all. I can't remember what I said, but basically I'm trying to not put pressure. I'm trying to not get stuck. So yeah, in the past, I had that was it. So that same like getting stuck on a piece is what I had before I'd started the pieces. So it was like a feedback loop where I'd start.
You wouldn't even start because you knew 10 steps down the road you'd get stuck.
And that fear, and I'm pretty sure it's fear of failure almost. I think that's the only it doesn't make sense in my own brain because I'm not normally scared of failing in things, but that's the only thing I can sort of verbalize it as. So yeah, that fear I think was pushing me. So like
probably more for frustration in the sense that you know you're going to get to a point where you can't finish, so what's the point of starting? As opposed to a fear, frustration.
Yeah, and there's like a bigger frustration in general. Like so, so that like a sort of frustration that just lived there. It was like have you seen it's a Marvel, three seasons. He's telekinetic. He's the son of Xavier, I think. Legion. Have you seen? Yeah, and you know that season 1 where it has that the Egyptian really old, like one of the first mutants is inside.
I've not watched it.
It's really good actually. It is really good. Okay, well, it's basically like it's like a parasite in a sense. That's what it felt like. Like it was always there. So I would rather just sit, procrastinate, and kind of get annoyed at myself for not painting than take that step and go and paint. Like it was too big a thing in my own brain. And that was 3 years, man. Like that's what's frightening. 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022.
Yeah, it's interesting the mindset because you talking then just makes me realize actually I do think differently. So where I would hit that stopping point where I'm stuck, it would irritate me more that there's an unfinished model there, and that what drives me on. That's what irritates me. It's kind of like it's beaten me, and I don't like being. And it comes back to my results as well, actually, in this event. So I managed to get a bronze in standard.
Wish I had the
And
photo of you on the podium.
what's that? Yeah. And obviously, it's well documented what I thought after that, and we obviously did a cast with Arno about it, to talk about dealing with disappointment. But I think my mindset there was different in the sense that it's changed now. Again, it's changed 3 times since that event. But I think the main thing for me was I was frustrated that I was getting left behind. So I've always been raised in such a way that you work hard or in a certain way to try and achieve. You know, if you're on middle table at maths, you work hard to get on top table, and that's the way you are. And you don't want to. My parents always phrased it: you don't want to be left behind because you feel like you're missing out on something. They're all enjoying something much better, and because you didn't work hard enough, you're not. So it's a bit. It's like FOMO as well. And I think that's where I'm driven, and that's where if I don't complete a task, that kind of teaching is inbred in me. So if I get to a point, and I completely understand your perspective as well, like I can't go any further. I'm going to sit here staring at this model for 10 hours. I might as well do something better with my time. Forget this. I completely understand that approach. However, the way I've been taught and the way I'm wired is it frustrates me more because it's sitting there is effectively giving me the finger. I've beaten you.
Yeah.
And you know, and that is my failure by letting it go. So there's that kind of thought process which is different. And then my outcome at World Model Expo was disappointing for me, but more so than the personal disappointment because obviously I'd scored a bronze the year before an SMC, so I was looking to move up hopefully to silver, see some improvement. And it's well documented that you can't check your progress on medal, blah blah blah. We're not going to go into that again. Yeah. But I think the biggest thing for me was I'm getting left behind. That's what I thought. You know, obviously, Arnau and Albert, you don't even need for them to place to know where they are.
Yeah.
And I was happy for you that you'd progressed. And I think my frustration with you when you got your gold was it didn't make you paint again because I really wanted to see you paint. I wanted to see you flourish as a painter. But it is what it is. And I think the main thing for me was, wow, they're all golds and I'm a bronze, you know, and whether you should think that way or not, it's the way I was, you know, I was kind of raised, and it's like, you've got to perform better. So that had the effect to me where actually, no, I need to get a result now. And I'm not saying it's the right way. I'm not saying it's the right thing. You know,
it did work, though, didn't it? That's the interesting thing.
Yeah. Everybody says you paint for yourself, blah, blah, blah. So that's what I did. I doubled down in terms of working and trying to improve. And then ironically, I mean, I don't want to jump to that point yet because obviously we're looking at other events, but ironically, I changed my thought process and went, you know what, forget about it. Medals don't matter. And then I kind of got the result
I was looking for. Back in.
Yeah. Well, not really. Well, I've changed my mind, but we'll approach that once we talk about that event. But anyway, coming back to what you said, talking about that event, that particular event, that's where your mindset was, and that's where my mindset was at that point of the year. I was kind of, right, I've got 2 more events now where I can try and prove my worth or try and bring home the bacon, so to speak. And I thought, you know what, I don't want to be in this position again.
The irony now is I think we're both going to be in that position for a long time now because we're in Masters. But it's a different one because you can really understand why it's so much harder. Because I mean, like I said, we're pretty like when we speak about, but I think the pressure's off again. Yeah.
I'll speak about that when we get to that point.
Yeah. So, well, I was going to say, I think SMC's kind of covered in a painting perspective.
Yeah. So the next event we turned up to was Golden Demon.
Hold on. Golden Demon. That's the alternative thumbnail view, that is. I thought I'd give it out because, you know, I built it, but no one saw it.
So I think in terms of the painting events, I think this one sings to your heart more than it does to me. Don't get me wrong, I enjoy it. I enjoy the event, but I think you, obviously Albert in particular, have got a soft spot for Golden Demon, haven't you?
I think as a competition, it's the only one I want to win.
Yeah.
To be honest, the lines are getting blurred now because actually it's becoming more of a. The standard last year was just as good as Monty, and there's more pieces at Monty and SMC obviously that are of a higher standard. That'll stay for sure. Like things that placed in this Golden Demon weren't getting golds in Monty or Thingy. But the standard now is like, I don't know, 4 years ago I was like confident that I could win something if you get not like the best categories, but like, you know, if you get the right category, if it's a good standard, but it's just you're a bit lucky basically, you could definitely win in Golden Demon. And I think that's kind of gone now. Because all the big boys are entering, and that, in my opinion, that's the way it should be.
So I'm the same, although it doesn't mean as much to me. And don't get me wrong, I grew up with Golden Demon. I appreciate Golden Demon. I do like it, but I don't follow the win. Well, I don't follow the compendium. You know, a lot of people follow the compendium, Golden Demon compendium. I'm not as much of an anorak in that sense. There's pieces I like. I always have a look every year. Go, oh, who's that? Do I recognise that name? I like that piece, but that's where it ends. And then once it leaves my mind. Yeah. But I agree. There's still that childhood, that inner child in me that would like a Golden Demon, and it would be nice. And I agree. There was always, when I entered previous years, if I got lucky in a category, which wasn't that well represented, I might blag it.
Yeah, basically.
And I agree. This year, the year for blag,
died, isn't it?
The art of the blag died.
Yeah.
There is no blagging Golden Demon anymore. There is no. I'll see what category is this way, and I'll get no. You have to be. I mean, it was all the odds were always against you because it's not an open competition. It's top three.
Yeah.
So it was always, but there was still always a chance, like you said, if you pick the right category. You might bag a bronze. You might. Those days have gone.
Pretty much.
Those days have gone.
Yeah. Now it's
and also with them stepping it up now to a 3-day event in Manchester with a bigger capacity near an airport where international painters can fly in easily. I think it's just going to get harder.
Yeah.
I think it's just going to get harder.
So that's why they picked Manchester then and not Leicester, I'm assuming. Leicester must have an airport, but there are going to be more people flying to Manchester. I'm sure of it.
Well, we already know, don't we? We already know that there's a few people who don't normally go to Golden Demon who are going next year, who are coming from Spain. And I think the other thing as well, I think the myth busting this year has changed people's attitude. So there was this kind of attitude where if you paint in a certain style, you're not going to do well.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, David Aroba has come over and won 2 Golden Demons. Who's a well-known name on our circuit, but probably isn't that well-known in the commercial circuit. And I think now, obviously, people in Spain are thinking, well, if David has gone over and won, maybe I'll look at picking up a ticket.
Yeah, that is true.
So I actually think there's going to be a tidal wave of, and also let's not forget, this one was on short notice with a limited capacity.
Yeah. Yeah,
so there were people who wanted to couldn't get in. So this is going to be the first. I mean, it's actually sold out, hasn't it? But this is going to. Yeah, this was going to be.
I think it had a lot larger capacity than the one just got.
A lot larger capacity. But those who were frustrated who couldn't get into this one are now going to be there as well. So I think it's going to be
just as competitive.
Crazy. Yeah, I think it's going to be crazy. 2023. I think it's going to be the cream of the crop, which is why I've gone. I'm not entering, Jamie.
What days are you coming? You're going to get 2 days there, are you?
I'm going to get 2 days there, yeah. So those who don't know, we've been talking in the background. I've actually got a close family wedding, which falls at that bank holiday weekend. It's literally the only weekend I've got booked up in 2023. And they put Golden Demon, the same thing. There was a chance if it was still at Coventry, I could have swung it and probably done it. But now that it isn't, I'm going to struggle. So I'm going to be there for 2 days. One of those days I'm going to have to drive back and drive up again, but I'm not going to be there on the Monday because that's when the wedding is and that's when the award ceremony is. So on that basis, I won't be entering. And actually, it was a weight off my shoulders
For the
that
entry,
disappearing
yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that disappearing out my calendar because I'll be honest with you, I'm not that interested in painting something for Golden Demon. So you go through. I've got things that I want to paint for Monty and SMC
Just
because you can enter. Yeah, because you can enter anything you want. You're not limited to an IP, aren't you? Whereas the first big battle with Golden Demon is right. I've got to pick something from the Games Workshop range. What do I like?
Yeah.
And although I've recently got back into gaming in one system in GW, it's not like it was back in the day when I was younger, where I loved everything and there was so much I could pick. I'd really struggle to find something that I want to paint to that level and for that long without getting bored.
That's the thing. You really have to paint. You have to put a lot of hours into Golden Demon to have that refined goodness to even stand a chance.
So that option being taken away from me this year was kind of like, oh, that's right. Actually, now I don't need to produce anything till October. And what I do produce will be a passion project.
Yeah.
So in that sense, I'm sure there's a lot of people now thinking, well, if Lionel's not entering, I might be in with a chance.
Yeah.
I'm joking.
I wasn't going to enter, but now.
The field is open. I'm joking, of course.
Just in case anyone wasn't
Just
sure.
in case people think I take myself that seriously, yeah. So what about you? Entering next year? You've got to. You actually no, it's not a choice. You've got to represent because I represented at all three last year. I was carrying your dead weight of a body around. You need to carry me around this year.
It's an interesting one because if I do enter, I've only got a month left of painting because the kid's coming at February, 1st of February.
When the kid comes, Jamie, all you can do is paint. The rest of your life ends. But the only thing you can make time for is going down to your desk because that's your life after that.
But surely I won't have any time and I'll be too sleep deprived to even pick up the brush.
It's the only thing. My gaming stopped obviously when kids came along. That's why I fell out of gaming. But the only thing that continued and improved and became my passion was painting because you've got no excuse when you've got some downtime. You're just downstairs, aren't you?
Yeah,
baby wakes up after 2 hours. You're upstairs.
Yeah, I suppose I got all my wife and life stuff to do as well. But yeah.
Well, I was working as well. I wasn't like. What I'm saying is, when you do get your own time, like your wife's having a power nap and the baby's having a nap.
I mean,
but that's why I paint so late. But that's why I paint so late. It's from that lifestyle.
Yeah.
So when I paint.
Yeah, I don't know you do that. I honestly like.
It's trained. That's how I did it.
Aren't your eyes tired?
No.
Yeah, fair enough. Like if I paint for like, let's say an hour at like 10 p.m. By 11 p.m. I'm ready for bed now.
You have to power through, man.
Yeah. I mean, do you know what? As I'm working on volumes and I'm getting better, I do have the Joaquin sculpt that he did for me, which for my desires and what I would like to, what I enjoy.
So that'll be open then, will it?
Yeah, which is fine because I'm not trying to win. That's the good thing about the Golden Demon. Like now I know the standard's not there. I'm not demoralised by that because I'm not trying. Now I know I'm not going to win. I can do my best, beat my own personal best in my painting because obviously the Azurman I did is the best model I've ever done. By probably quite a long way, actually, because it's the only model that I've actually tried all the way through on.
But is it... I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but from my knowledge from you, it's the only model you've ever completed, isn't it?
How dare you? No, I mean, I've got 28mm stuff that I've finished, obviously.
Right, yeah, but... Yeah,
great, right. Yeah, it's the only it's the only above 28mm model I've ever finished, yeah.
It's the only competition piece you finished, isn't it?
Yes.
Since we've known
that is also true. Well, no, I've done the Golden Demon from before.
I'm not discounting 28mm. If you put a 28mm,
yeah, I've got two that I finished. I've got the
into a competition. I've not seen these 28mm. I've got loads of 28mm kicking around. I do one a week. for gaming. But there's different. But, no,
No,
but there's different levels.
I've
There's
got
different levels.
you've definitely seen them. You've just forgotten them because they're so uninspiring. I've got the old Eldrad I did. The
Okay.
all right, hold on. Oh, right there, that model.
Oh, you've done that this year, have you?
No, that was in 2016.
Oh, fuck's sake, Jake. I'm talking about recently.
But wait, what do you mean?
If I start pulling stuff I did 2015, 10 years ago, I'm talking
No,
about.
but you said competition pieces.
No, but I'm talking about competition pieces since that one that you did.
No,
The
no,
one
no, no. I've not painted since then.
I know, that's the point I'm making. Are we recording at the moment?
Yes.
All right, okay. That's the point I'm making.
Yeah.
Since that piece,
Yeah.
you've not finished
No.
a competition
No.
piece.
I no, not even remotely close. Actually, yeah.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. So when you started saying I've done 2 pieces, I went, I don't think you have.
What would you have thought though if I produced this year? Wouldn't you have been like at a competition piece as well? Wow, you've gotten. Oh.
Well, it would have been in engaged polite mode. How do I tactically comment on this without pushing him under a bus?
Well, that was before I understood. I mean, when you look back, like it would be quite cool actually for you to look back at one of your pieces you did.
I've got some in the garage actually. I've got a ice cream tub of all the old models,
Yeah.
metal models. I had like old hammer stuff.
Oh, okay.
God, some of it.
But that's before. How old are they for you? Like, I mean,
like secondary school.
yeah, yeah. But I mean, before you started doing lessons or really like taking it seriously, like.
Yeah. I've sold a lot of the stuff actually that I did.
Nice. But like this piece, right? I didn't know what a primary colour was, a secondary colour was. I'd never heard of colour values or contrast, or I didn't know anything, right? And this was just the first piece I'd ever like painted since I was like 15. So yeah,
how old were you when you did that then?
Still quite old, like 31.
Oh wow, okay.
I hadn't painted since then. The only thing I can say that I was like looking back now that I was proud of, right, was this. I haven't looked at it actually like in earnest. Yeah.
Oh, that is good, actually. That is good.
The gem is all right, isn't it?
Yeah, that's good. No, that is good.
And it's relatively crisp, but everything else. So yeah, disappointment. I put shells on the floor. That was the best. My basing skills have not improved. I'm still just as bad as I am then. Like.
Yeah, but if you did some research, you know how to do it now.
Probably be easy to get better, wouldn't it? So yeah, golden. Go on.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah,
Sorry.
well, I was a Golden Demon. I really, really loved the event. I was sad that it was only 1 day, 2 days.
Well, they heard your Lionel Jamie increased it to 3
Yeah,
days.
except they put it on a Monday. My wife's going to be absolutely fuming.
Why they didn't go Friday, Saturday, Sunday? I don't know.
Genuinely annoying. Like it might even be a situation where I'm not allowed to go on the Monday, and someone can pick up my award or something. I don't know, but
Are you being serious?
Well, what is it?
Because at that point, if that's the case, both you and I aren't there, so we can't cover the actual Golden Demon Awards.
Yeah, maybe I don't know. Okay, good point. I'll need to make it happen. But the thing is, Tina will be with I'll need to get my mum involved or something, which she never really does. But Tina will be with a 2-month-old and the 4-year-old, and there's no childcare. So for 4 days or 3 days, I can imagine she's not going to be the happiest bunny in the world.
Okay, so obviously we've got a WhatsApp group where we've been arranging all this,
Yeah.
and obviously you've been in Airbnbs and whatnot. And I've not paid attention to when your due date is for your second born. I just assumed the child wouldn't have been born yet because you were so free.
Yeah, no,
you were so free. So
I just hadn't thought about it yet. When is Golden Demon?
My wife's niece is getting married, so it's quite a close family wedding. And I even knew, I'm not going to. And that was a wedding. If there was a baby,
Well,
there's a baby coming. I wouldn't
the
even
baby
be
will be
looking
safely born by then, right? So it's not like it's a possibility I'm missing the birth.
It's not so much that. It's when the baby's arrived and you can actually lend a hand. This is now when you can actually do something.
I mean,
See you later.
when is Golden Demon? Is it April?
Actually, I don't know. Yeah, it is April. No, it's May. It's the bank holiday of May. May the 4th or May the 5th or something.
April. Okay, so the baby with 3 months then. So,
Practically independent, Jamie.
there you go. It's not as bad as like 2 weeks though, is it? Like 3 months. It's,
Your battle, man. It's like.
Anyway, there's a chance that I won't be able to do the awards. But that's fine. I mean, Golden Demon didn't reply to us anyway, so we probably won't get any access this year anyway.
No, process.
So, but yeah, I will possibly think about that because I started that piece like that. Like I think when I came back from SMC, actually, I tried to paint that Joaquin one. But I got stuck. I undercoated it purple, and then I was like, actually, purple's really.
You can still put it into the next two competitions, even if you don't make golden.
But yeah,
when's the US Golden Demon? You can always fly over, bang it in there.
They're just doing photos, so they're emailing photos of the pieces to the UK.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard. I don't know how true it is.
Probably quite true because they did it to in the last Golden Demon in the US. So
Really?
I don't see why they'd change. But yeah,
it's what you're saying. What you're saying is just paint the front.
I wonder if they'll let you end. I suppose they would, right? I wonder if they'll do it.
Yeah, but obviously they'll let you. They'd say, but we know that some models photograph better, don't they, than they look in real life. That's what I mean.
So if you're good at painting photograph photos, get someone to enter it for you who's in the US. Send it to them. It's a very weird competition. Anyway, yeah, Golden Demon.
So in terms of you enjoyed the event. I enjoyed the event because once again, that was the second time we saw each other this year, wasn't it? So we had World Model Expo, and it kind of came out of the blue, didn't it? It wasn't in the calendar. It suddenly came out.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, they announced the Golden Demon. So it's a choice. It was another chance for us to all get together, and obviously we met Tony as well.
Tony, legend, 4 best friends.
5, isn't it? If you do the math.
Oh yeah, I suppose. So someone's getting on the chop there, I guess. Albert or on Al.
Yeah. So that was good. In terms of it inspiring, it didn't really inspire me, but I did really enjoy what I saw there. I can enjoy what I see there, but not want to go and paint a Space Marine immediately after, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed that. I enjoyed seeing people we knew win and place.
Yeah.
Obviously, David winning his first Golden Demon, winning 2 Golden Demons. Albert obviously bringing home the bacon again with 2. That was nice to see. But yeah, it was a good event. But it felt like, once again, it was another signifier for me that the pandemic was over, because it was the first Golden Demon we'd had since then. So everything was coming a bit normal. But in terms of me, my own painting, I entered as well, didn't I? I forgot. I entered. I represented because Jamie went. He went, Lionel, you know what? I'm not going to bother putting anything in. Yeah, I don't want to try. So, okay, I'll do something. I'll represent
Mini. The irony of that situation is I still had a gold at that point, and you didn't. So, I had to. I had to perform. Yeah.
Don't worry, Jamie. I'm bringing home a trophy. No, I didn't. I said I was looking to get a commended. I was hoping to get a commended because I've always got a finalist pin, but I've never managed to get a commended, and I didn't this time either. I got another finalist pin, but I also got a tank for my army. So that was good. I was happy with that piece, actually. I was really happy with the way it turned out. And in terms of commentary I got back from other people there and since, they really liked the piece as well. So that was nice. But in terms of personal development or improvement, I was still treading water again. 2 bronzes in a row, and that was probably my 6th finalist pin.
I mean, you can make it to 10. You can never have too many finalist pins, can you?
No. And I wear them around my neck. You know, like
Get a
Dolph Lundgren
lanyard.
in Winter Soldier.
Yeah,
He's got all the
exactly.
ears. Neck. They can't hear you. Um,
Or you could get those like motifs here and put them on there, or here.
I'll make him a pair of earrings. Um,
True.
so, so that's it. So yeah, in that sense, it was nice. I felt an achievement actually entering because each competition I entered, I produced new pieces for.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so it was nice as well that that was a second piece that I completed for a competition. It managed to reach a certain standard, and I was happy with that. So it was kind of at that point I was then obligated to produce a new piece for
Quite
Monty
quickly as well,
Santovino.
though, right? Right. Well, hold on. The call's ended. Yep. So, SMC, no, Golden Demon, Tank, not placing.
Yeah, so that was Golden Demon, but it was a good event, and it was good to have it back on the calendar.
And it was nice to get the drone out and film. I actually hold on. Yeah, it didn't. It's not about the views anyway, is it? We don't do it for the views. Would have been nice though for the amount of bloody hours I did editing. But yeah, the drone was there, and the whole event was brilliant because SMC had been quite stressful subconsciously after. Then this one was more like relaxed. And it was the time when I was kind of having conversations with the sculptors. It was actually probably the turning point of when I stopped hating Games Workshop as much as I did. Because I spoke firsthand with the sculptors and saw that they weren't as droney as I thought they'd be, you know? Do you know what I mean? We
No.
spoke about it in the past. Like I've always been convinced that they're just minions churning out crap. Like
Oh, okay.
without any like feeling of passion's probably the right word, but yeah, like because they don't have a name, they're all just one studio. When they get released, it feels, and they're digital. For all the things that I sort of took value from, it felt like they weren't, they didn't care about what they produced. They were just run of the mill. Like 8 people could work on it. It gets really refined. Like rather than it being like one person does a sculpt and he does it because he loves that faction or whatever. So that was a big eye opener, and that's probably what started like making me more open to painting again, I think. And just us spending it, sharing the house. Obviously, you meeting us each day, like, yeah, I think that was probably a big.
I think for me at that point as well, after World Expo, we kind of had this click, didn't we? Where it was quite nice to just
Yeah,
go to these events with each other
yeah,
as an excuse to hang out. So for me, it was more about that. It was just an unexpected event that came to the calendar quite quickly, and then we got a chance to just hang out again. And
yeah. That's actually probably an important thing now. Like when you start knowing your group and what to expect when you go, you preemptively are more excited by it because you're relaxed in the people you're with. You know what they're and who they are, and you just you can go for meals and all that kind of stuff. Right, so then we obviously have Monty
Santovino. So this was interesting because it was the first time I had gone, and it was the first time you had gone. So we really didn't know what to expect.
Yeah.
And all we had heard was good things about it from everybody had said it was very, the one thing that everybody said, it was a very different event to all the others.
Yeah.
And having gone, it was. And we explain that in our event coverage. If you watch it, it's insightful in terms of why it was so different. How did this event feel for you, and how did it change your painting outlook, if any?
I think it carries on from what you said. Golden Demon with the click. That was all it really was, wasn't it? It was just more of it was a tightening bond of what we already had.
Oh no, I wasn't there though.
Yeah, I know. We've had a go at him for not coming, bloody bastard. Like he said he'll go to the next one, and I hope he does because it is fantastic, and it is just a lovely, like, relaxing model filled. Like it's just because there's no real retail. There's just a small amount of retail, and there's the models is on a nice display, but there aren't too many of them either. So it means you basically spend most of your time just sort of talking, eating, drinking models, and that's it really. In this beautiful, as you see there, that bottom right, like this really, really nice drone filmed area. Like I think next year what I'll do for the events is I'll probably just do like a 2-3 minute video of our edited things, and then release or maybe 2 versions of it. Like do one where we have our talking on day 1, 2, and not have those little clips in between, and then do one like shorter sort of highlights of it. Keep them separate, I think. Because I always just fast forward where we talk now in those videos if ever I want to watch. Anyway, off topic. So yeah, Monty is it's like a Christmas dinner with people you like, rather than family. Right. You know, like.
Okay, I see what you mean.
Like everyone there. Well, obviously there's probably people there that you might not like or whatever, but like for us at least, we just got to talk to new people, the Americans. Oh yeah, which brings us to Stephen the Garcia. It's worth actually. Should we quickly? Hold on, I need to get there. Yeah, so we met. Like you met new people, the Americans, which I'd never spoken to. Well, actually, ironically, Stephen the Garcia, who is doing the Las Vegas Open 2023, by the way. And I think I actually don't know if there's still places. There might not be. There might be. I also just saw that it's a 3-day workshop, which I didn't realise before. So it's actually, that could be quite cool. I think I'd like, if I was going to do courses, do you remember when Journeyman were going to do a longer one? I liked the idea of that.
Yeah, but
if you've got family, now I've got 2 kids, impossible. Before, I think I didn't even have a kid when they were talking about it. And the idea of going away, it would have been a cool thing. But yeah, this is a 3-day workshop. As you can see, ambience, color, composition, texture, OSL, and it's basically all the 3 key. There's 5 things there. But you have to be from Las Vegas, I'm guessing, or going to Las Vegas. That's nuts, isn't it?
Well, going to the event Las Vegas Open, yeah.
Right. It's not just okay, and he's doing a workshop at Las Vegas Open.
Yeah. So it's an event. It's a gaming event, obviously in Las Vegas, and obviously like most of these events, they've got painting courses, cool. Various people. Yeah. So a lot of the Americans are running courses there while they're there.
I didn't realise, like I'd spoken to Stephen the Garcia. I did tell him that that's what we call him, so he won't be shocked. It's just Stephen Garcia though for every normal person. And it's only because we met...
Like Conan the Barbarian.
Yeah, exactly. Who did we meet? The Stephen the Collector or...
Stephen the Collector,
yeah. So then we met him there, and then obviously I got Stephen, and then I added the Garcia, so that's where that came from. But I didn't realise he and I had spoken on WhatsApp quite a few times, Stephen and I.
Okay.
Before.
That doesn't surprise me. I think you've got a WhatsApp chat going with everybody in the world.
But I just don't know it.
You don't know.
Yeah, and then obviously we met, and we still didn't know that he was Stephen and I was Jamie, and even at the barbecue and stuff. And then we realised afterwards. But yeah, so he's doing a course. So if you're in the Las Vegas Open, check it out. I do think it was well worth it.
One thing I had to put 2 and 2 together off was one of my favourite pieces of last year was the lino that he painted. Okay. Yep. So it hit the nostalgia feels. In fact, it's inspired the piece that I'm going to do for next year. But in terms of nostalgia, it kind of made me think, oh yeah, I'd like to revisit my childhood. But it was one of my favourite pieces of last year. I loved it. And I didn't put 2 and 2 together that it was him who had painted it until I got back from Monty Santovino, which was frustrating because had I known, I'd have asked him to look at it in hand, in person and close, and talk to him about it and tell him how much I liked it. So it's one of those things that you see these things on Instagram, but you don't, and then people don't use real names on Instagram, do they? So his handle is something else. Is it Taro? It's not Stephen. Anyway.
I don't know. Will I like?
Yeah. It's a different handle. So you don't. By the time you make the connection of the piece to the handle to the person who they really are, and that's and like me as well, a lot of people don't post images of themselves on their hobby. Yeah. On their hobby.
Unless you're a woman.
So you can't even, so you can't even put a face to them and go, oh. So sometimes you'll come back, and it's only after the event I went, oh bloody hell, that's his piece. I really wanted to talk to him about it and tell him how much I liked it. So Stephen, if a bit late, but I do really like your piece, and it's inspired me to do something in a similar vein for next year. I also have it on good authority from his wife, actually, that he listens to us while working.
Yeah, he did. He did tell me that like the other day. Now, like, I think he has to come clean because his wife's told him, probably told him that she grassed him up and was like, "You watch or he listens." Apparently, when he's in the gym.
So a lot of people you would think get better at painting while listening to us. Some people get more buff. Massive gains from Mini Matters.
Different.
In fact, we should use that
as our logo.
You want massive gains? Listen to Mini Matters,
and we'll do our own protein shake made of acrylic. losing it there. But yeah, that's, I think, well worth it. So Monty, for me, that was like we've gained 6 best friends forever now, and it's not, we don't talk. We don't need to talk. We'll talk at the event. But it's just the social side of it. I mean, we've covered it well, haven't we? Monty is a really relaxed, nice, safe environment, basically. You're all stuck in this village with no outside like influences, and yeah, it's quite cool.
So for me as well, like I said, Monty was amazing for all the same reasons. I'm not going to cover it again because we've done it in that other cast. Yeah. But the only thing I don't suppose that I have covered really is the personal achievement. So at that point, I'd gone into, after Golden Demon, I'd gone into it going, you're right, medal result doesn't reflect your painting improvement. Forget about it. Park it at the door. As long as you're happy with the piece, that's it. And I did have a piece that I was happy with. Bunged it in and thought nothing of it. I genuinely thought nothing of it. I hadn't put any thoughts into what I might get, what I'd hoped to get. I was done with it at that point.
How long had you spent on it?
One of my shortest pieces.
Ironic, really, isn't it?
But not really. Not really. I think if you'd asked me a few months ago whether it was ironic, I would have agreed with you. However, what R now, because those who don't know, is I'm learning with R now. I do projects with him. He's a great teacher. What I've learned from him and what he said to me is, if you're spending hours and hours on a piece, you're not doing something right. Like a lot of people wear it like a badge of honor. I've spent 100 hours on this piece. And he's like, why? Why have you spent 100? Unless you're blending and glazing to death, which takes that long.
Yeah.
If you're painting with brushstrokes, why is it taking you that long? Something's gone wrong. Either you're procrastinating for too long, or you're correcting and correcting. He says, when you're getting better, you will finish pieces quicker. And that's from preparing what you're going to do, thinking about what you're going to do, mentally painting the piece before you even start painting the piece, and then you go through the motions. So in that sense, maybe the fact that it was my shortest and quickest piece was a reflection on, actually, I knew what I was doing with this piece for once. Yeah. And I'd learned a lot more. And I had picked up stuff from pieces I'd done for World Model Expo. Not so much Golden Demon, because that's not transferable. But other pieces I'd done throughout the year, I applied again to this one, and it made painting this one far easier because I'd already learned the exercises and the techniques and the mindset. So yeah, on this one then, I was very surprised and pleasantly surprised to find that I actually placed for a gold.
Not just gold.
And like I said,
third. You got third place, didn't you, overall?
Yeah, I'm not too sure how open that's meant to be, but so essentially in fancy paint,
Albert was third place in World Model Expo, and it wasn't like a hidden. There were 15, I think, models that went in, and as you said, everybody votes on all of them, and then they removed one with the fewest votes, and then they all vote again, and they go through that step like 15 times. And I think, I'm not exactly sure on Monty, but yeah, it's not hidden knowledge. It's just not, because it's not a real award. No one, it's not written down anywhere. But the reality is, you got third.
Yeah. So in fancy painting standard, I managed to get a gold medal, and then out of the golds, they picked best of show out of that standard category, and the feedback that I got was that I managed to get into the top 3. I obviously got knocked out at number 3, but out of the, I think, was it 10 golds they were given, 10 or 9?
Yeah, probably.
Out of the 10, I managed to make it up to position 3 for best of show, and I got knocked out. So that was complete. In fact, when you talk about it now, it feels so surreal. Even when you say it now, I still think something went wrong there for me to get that high. But yeah, so from a personal point of view, it came at the right time. I was mentally at the point where I disengaged personal progress with medal progress, and I wasn't putting that pressure on me. I went in not really caring, providing I was happy with the piece. I was proud of the piece I produced. Yeah. And then the cherry on top was I did get the gold. And I have to say, when I got back home, there was that element of not so much I wanted the gold just to score a goal, but now that I felt, you know what, I'm back competing in the same category as Jamie again. Yeah. Because there was going to be that point that we would be going into next year. Don't get me wrong, I could always enter Masters. There's nothing stopping me from going to Masters. But it doesn't make sense if you're not performing in standard to then go into Masters, because the leap is silly. So in terms of that joint journey and sharing that experience, the reason I wanted to get gold was so that way we could have that shared experience again. I think it feels better when we're competing. And it's the same. If I had been in Masters and you had been in standard, I wouldn't have enjoyed it as much if you weren't in Masters as well. So the fact that we're all together in that sense, you know, and going back to that analogy I said earlier about me being on the middle table and I wanted to try and get up. You're all sitting on the top table and I'm trying to get up there to be on the same table as you. Now that I feel that I'm on the same table and I've earned it. And as a result, the pressure is there, but also the pressure's gone because that table is surrounded by so many skilled individuals. If I don't place for years, so be it.
As long as you're enjoying it, isn't it? Right? Like,
and I think there's nowhere else to go after that as well. So you're in that group now anyway. So in that sense, it kind of it was a nice full stop to the end of the year that I managed to catch up. That I saw my hard work pay off, but at the same time, mentally, I wasn't relying on that anyway. Me not scoring a medal wasn't going to stop me painting or have any effect. So it was a nice end of chapter for me.
It's a long road that we've been on to get to this painting fulfillment that we've finally both found. Different ways, but still, you know, come to that same conclusion that we want to paint for ourselves. We want to paint to enjoy it. We want to paint to produce things that we're happy with, rather than just like, in a way, painting for others. I think that's probably a better way for me to describe what I'd got to. I wasn't,
and I think that's why as well, why Monty, SMC and World Expo will always hold a better place for me in terms of as a painting competition, because I can paint what I want.
And compete against yourself. You're only really competing yourself. That's the
but even taking away the medals, let's say we forget about the medals, that's where we're at now. I know I can do something that I really want to do and bung it in anyway.
You
know, and if it performs, it performs. If it doesn't, it doesn't. If it's so
I'm going. I go now to the library right now.
Oh, what did Santa bring you for Christmas?
All the things what I said to him.
What was your favourite present from Santa?
I think all of them.
I tell you, because I can't hear.
And there was also
what was
flamingo makeup.
Whoa, flamingo makeup.
That's cool.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys. My daughter came home from the library, and obviously,
so I think so for me that was my full stop point. I got to a point where I was happy to rest in terms of painting, felt comfortable where I was. What about you? where were you on your painting journey at that point, Jamie?
This is Monty.
After Monty Sanzavino.
Yeah, obviously I didn't enter. I didn't feel like there was any point. I think in hindsight I could have entered it to Masters just to see what it got. I don't think it would have placed, but I think the important part for me to go all the way back to when you spoke about your motivations and I spoke about mine, and then to bring it back to the whole thing about me now knowing about Masters, that pressure of knowing that I'm not there yet, like that, as you say, not wanting to be left behind, is what drives me to get. I'm not there yet for getting better, but like that's what excites me about entering Masters. The thought of entering and not getting anything. It's different from Golden Demon because you enter and you could enter 100 times and never get anything.
Mm.
Whereas in Open, you obviously sort of hope to get some level of improvement. So I think the core motivations there are the same. In that, knowing that I do have to be better to place in Masters is the motivation. It's just slightly different in the broader scheme of things. And what was your question?
Just where were you where you at that point after? Yeah. So in terms of motivation, drive.
I still hadn't it hadn't fully clicked for me yet. Had it, like I wasn't painting at all before we left to Monty. Or maybe I just started. I think like literally a week or two before I'd gone on a little bit of a train. So yeah, by the time I came back though, I was like fully in, and I think just talking with everyone in a relaxed way for 4 days makes you realise how excited you are. And then it had clicked actually while I was there, because obviously I bought that model and I knew that I'd paint that model.
And 10 plinths.
Yeah. Where are they? Yeah, you can't see them. Hold on, maybe I can drag it down. They're there at the top of my picture. Just waiting. Actually, I realised though, I actually have with plinths a little bit of the same thing that I have at the Fear. I did try and do some milliput on a base, and it was awful, truly awful. So I've got a long way to go, but at least I'm doing it, just not well, but I am still doing it. And there's enjoyment even in the failure at the moment, which I've not had in so long. So I think it was a healing process for sure. These 3 things and this year, and generally, like I'm happy with where we are, and I'm excited. I think for the year to come. Less excited about the lack of time, but like you said, apparently you're saying that you have more time to paint now when you have a second. So
yeah, I think the main problem or obstacle you're going to have next year is getting away to the events, isn't it? Getting the brownie points to get away. Yeah. I actually think your painting time will go up because you just don't have time to leave the house. You just don't. So the only thing you can do recreationally as a form of meditation is go into your room and paint. Yeah. Because at that point, what you'll find as well is that point, you'll realise it's even worth doing 15 minutes because 15 minutes might be all I have to take. Yeah. But I'm not going to get anywhere else in 15 minutes. I'm not going to go down the shops. I'm not going to go and meet my mates down the pub. So I actually think your painting time will grow because that's all you've got.
But nothing else. You're a husk of a man at that point, aren't you?
Yeah, you're a prisoner in your own house, being killed off by your kids. Yeah. Might as well pick up the brush.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm excited by that prospect. But
I will once again vicariously live through you. No, I will kind of enjoy it in a sick, twisted way because obviously I've got 3 kids, and I'm at the point now where freedom is back. Freedom. So obviously my youngest has just turned 4. My eldest sometimes just takes herself up into her room, just draws, and I won't see her unless I go and drag her out of the room. So I've got that freedom. So seeing you tired, miserable, shackled, suffering, we'll go, actually, Lionel, appreciate what you've got.
Yeah, I've got it sweet.
Because you were Jamie at one point, and now you're not.
You're living the dream now, basically. Yeah.
Well, and you'll be like, Lionel, what painting have you done? Painting? What are you talking about? I'm free now. I'm out every night.
Going out drinking.
I'm not sitting at that desk painting for losers.
Well, that will be me. I'll use my own drone, film me in the room filming, painting. That's what I'll do with wind going everywhere.
The Hutber Show will be an outlet. In fact, the Hutber Show will be a an interesting window on your sanity. It'll become like therapy.
Yeah.
It'll become like, how bad is Jamie doing this week? Let's tune into the Hutber Show and find out.
It's just screeching records and like
Baby sick down one side, an empty bottle behind your ear.
I wonder if they'll do a show on like how to paint with 2 kids, or how to be miserable and paint, or something like that. Like the titles will just get progressively more and more. I don't know what the word is. Tired. Well, yeah. I imagine I'm already quite tired, so I imagine 2 is gonna be bad. I think I'm looking. Oh yeah, I need to lean to stay in shot. That's good though. That is good because right now paintings. I'll dare say it. I'm enjoying painting more than I'm enjoying football, and that's not something that I ever.
I genuinely think having this child, painting will become your refuge.
Yeah.
In that, that's what it's like for me. It's like a form of meditation. It's like come here and just shut away. It's kind of a form of therapy in a sense.
So I should be gold within the year then, really.
Less than that, Jamie. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, the guarantee to get gold. I was about to say the guarantee to get gold, Jamie, is to get a 3rd child, but you can't use that because I'm terrible and I've got 3.
Well, you did get a gold, just not in Masters, and you did have that big old jump up, but yeah. So I think that's the year gone. I think it's been a huge year for both of us, really, in terms of progression in slightly like you for painting and me for wanting to paint.
Yeah, and I think it's also been big for Mini Matters as well in terms of we managed to cover what I consider to be the big 3 events. We're looking to add more events to the calendar next year, but we'll talk about that in the next show. In the next show, we're going to do like a look forward to the new year, what we want to aim and achieve in the new year, and also new features we want to bring back in the new year. So we'll do that in the next episode. But I think in terms of event coverage, and obviously I've said it to you before privately and at events and that, but your coverage of the events has been amazing in terms of the tech that you brought, in terms of the camera work. We joke about it, the drone, but the drone was a game changer in terms of the level of coverage we did. See, I can't even manage a camera. You've got a drone going. And obviously your 6K camera and everything, your editing, how you filmed it. I think our coverage has really gone up this year, and that's in no small part down to you. So
it's a passion project. It's easier to improve on the things you enjoy. I think I'm interested, or it is interesting actually, that in the past the thing that's drawn me in is obviously the company and the technology, and because all that stuff I've done at football, and now I'm just sort of transferring it. But interesting that like next year I was even thinking like I want to do less coverage or so in depth because we've kind of done it. Nothing's going to change in that year. And because I'm more excited to paint than I am, like, I can feel I'm switching more to like the painting side of the hobby rather than the event coveragey. Like, obviously we'll have our staples, like film the models, do maybe the awards, like those kind of core things. But generally, like, what I want to do is more.
Yeah, I think there's other things as well that I'd like to explore at events. I'm not going to say now, just in case.
Yeah.
Others
people take
punch check.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. I think doing the same thing next year in terms of these are the models, here's some artists, let's talk to them. I think that might be a bit tied for us in terms of a format. I think there's other things we can do in order to keep it
I've got
fresh.
some cool ideas. I haven't thought of any. So yeah, but that's good. So yeah, I suppose that's 2022 for us.
That was 2022. Good
year.
year. It was a fine year for Mini Matters, I think. Fine vintage.
We might look back. We'll never get the same pinnacle ever again.
Yeah.
Hopefully not.
Oh, well, look, it's terrible.
I suppose. Yeah, true enough. Right, hold on. Right, so we done?
We're done. Thanks for watching, guys.
Yep.
Hope you've had a good 2022 as well. I don't know when this is going out, but we'll see you in the new year.
Yeah, I don't know either. But who knows? When it goes out, they'll know. Not important. Cheers.
See you later.
Bye-bye.